Welcome to the Bulletproof Depression Support Podcast. I'm your host, Gary, Coach Clinton, and recently accredited depression counseling coach. That is amazing news for me. And in this episode, depression counseling, that's a thing. And there is a theme of this episode. The theme of this episode is, how do you know if you're depressed? And how do you know if you're depressed? If I asked you that, what would you say? What would you say? If I was to ask anyone on a general day, if I would say, how would you know if you're depressed? They'd say, well, I'd be feeling depressed. I'd be feeling down. I probably have sleeping too much, sleeping too little. I'd be in a dark room. The curtains would be pulled. These are all signs of depression for sure. But there's actually let's say, a by the book, DSM-5. And the DSM-5 is Diagnosis and Statistical Manual. And on this, we'd be able to tell if someone actually has depression based off the symptoms. And if you do have depression, you need to have at least at least 5 of 9 symptoms in order. I say in order. You don't need to have them in order, but you need to have 5 of these 9 symptoms. And in this episode, I'm going to go through some of them symptoms. I've got a little list in front of me here of the 9. I've just created a video on this, posted to my TikTok and YouTube, talking about TikTok and YouTube. If you are finding value from this, maybe you'll find more value from Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube channel. Now, the reels get placed in the same place. So if you prefer one of those platforms, well, then maybe you'll be able to, you'll see all of them across the board. In this episode, let me just check if my microphone's connected. I believe it is. And we're happy to go. Yeah. So number 1 on the list is persistent low mood or hopelessness. And I'm going to expand on a couple of these. I'm just going to go through all of them right away. Before I do go through number 1, low mood and feelings of hopelessness, I'm going to tell you about the sponsor of the podcast, which is quasi.com and upskillonline.org. If you want a little course for yourself, go on to Upskill Online. And if you want to go away on holidays, go to quasi.com. It's pretty simple. About in the description of the podcast. If I was you, I'd very much check out my new course, brand new course, level 5, depression support podcast, bulletproof depression support course. And you can find that on Upskill, but you can also find it in the link tree, and that will get you direct access. You won't have to go through multiple pages. On this course, it's the best course I've ever done in terms of helping people recover from depression and get over depression. And what I mean by that is, it's level 5. You start off a beginner. People are very unaware when they're depressed, and not only are they aware to the fact that they could be depressed, right? But they're aware they're so, you have high functioning depression. But on general terms, people who are depressed, they've got a low output. Their output on life is very skewed. Their outlook on life is very skewed, but the output of life is very skewed and not great. They don't go for much exercise. They stay in their room all day. They seclude themselves. These things are natural. So this course is designed over 5 weeks. You do 1.5 hours maximum each week, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. And that's over 5 weeks. And over the course of 5 weeks, just like a therapy session, you're not going to have instant change. You need to have developed awareness. You need to implement from level 1 into level 2, level 3, and you need to have a space program. And that space program is a course I'm very proud of. Check it out on the link tree of this podcast. It's gonna be live ASAP. Yeah. I look forward to seeing you in there, and I appreciate you for supporting the podcast, supporting myself, and I hope I can support you back in return. All right, number 1, persistent low mood or feeling of hopelessness. Hopelessness. You're in your room, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling down, and someone comes into the room and they say, look, it will get better. And you say, no, it won't get better. And they say, it will get better, but you say, it won't get better. They say, it will get better, but you say, it won't get better. Why is that? Because you believe it's not going to get better. You believe that the future is not bright. And this is a very big sign of depression. The future, they don't have a compelling future. You need to create a compelling future for someone. Hopelessness, it ain't going to get better. Hope it will get better. Low mood, persistent low mood, that's part and parcel of depression. We know that for sure. These symptoms of the 5 of the 9 you must have, you need to have them for at least 2 weeks. Low mood for a 2-week period. How would you feel about that? That'd be pretty horrible. I wouldn't like that. I don't know if you would like that. I definitely wouldn't. Number 2, little or no activity or little or no interest in doing activities you used to do or you usually do on a general basis, including work, including hobbies, including eating food or making food, even to the smallest daily tasks. This one sucks in many ways. I mean, all of these suck in many ways. Depression sucks in many ways. But having little or no interest in doing things that you used to do, let's say you have a hobby and you don't like doing your hobby anymore, that's pretty demoralizing in many ways. Or you enjoy having a different type of hobby, something that you don't need to go outside, you don't need to go play football, you don't need to go do jiu-jitsu, you don't need to go out there, but it's something like just video games at home. You don't even like doing that. Or you don't like playing games on your phone, you don't like watching TV shows, like them type of things. Well, then it's life really becomes a drag in many ways. So this is another sign. Number 3 on the list here is change in sleep. Eating too much. Sorry, this next one. Sleeping too much, which is hypersomnia, or sleeping too little, which is insomnia. Do you have this? You struggle with too much sleep or too little sleep? Well, both of these are signs of depression. That's 4 on the list. Number 4 now is change of diet. That's number 3 on the list. Sleep problems. Too much sleep or too little sleep. Number 4, changes in diet. Sometimes people eat too much or they eat too less, which obviously contributes to a change in body composition and body stature. So do you eat too much? Do you eat too little? You overindulging in, junk food. And that's again another sign of depression. People who just have takeaways every night, that's not a good habit. People who just eat junk food, it's not a good habit. And it makes sense why you feel terrible. All of these make sense if you really think about it. Next on list, number 5 is fatigue. And maybe some people listening right there might actually have all 5 already. I've seen a funny video. Well, it's a funny video. It's definitely not funny now that I mention it. But someone mentions that this girl created a video like this, and there was hundreds, maybe thousands of comments on it, and hundreds of people would say, "Oh, that's great. I've 9 out of 9. I've ticked all the boxes." And it's true. Sometimes we do have all 9, but we don't have all 9 persistent at one time. But you want to have these persistent over the course of 2 weeks. Remember that. You might sleep too much one day, you might sleep too little the next day, or you might sleep too much, and then too little, and then too little, and then just right. But then your diet drops off, and then you're eating too much, you're not eating right. And we all have all these in many ways. Yeah. So we don't want to have too much change in our food. Again, if you're eating junk food, you're having sugary drinks at nighttime, you're not going to have a good sleep. You're not. It's not rocket science. It really isn't rocket science. If you're having chocolate throughout the day, crisps throughout the day, you're not doing yourself a favor. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. Not going to enjoy your own self. I don't think I've ever had a bar chocolate. I've spit out the last couple of chocolate bars I've had. I've bit into them and I've gone, I don't like this. I'm not having this anymore. This is terrible. I've respected my own self. Maybe it's like my taste buds are tingling for it, but my gut isn't. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. If I had crisps, I can't even stand eating crisps. I can't. Can't. I love how I use can't and I tell clients not to use can't. But there's a positive framing of things. Going off a little digress for a second. That I use certain things like positive limiting beliefs. Positive limiting beliefs is actually not a really good thing. That's something like I could do that, but I don't do it. So that's a positive framing of a limiting belief. But what I'm saying is I am too shy, not too shy, I'm too insecure about going up to the Aldi till, the little till, with a pack of crisps, junk food, bars, Coca-Colas. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it to myself, my own self-image. I would rather go up there with a healthy food. So I put external pressure on myself. If I recognize that I'm in this life and other people have opinions of me, other people have viewpoints of me, and some people shy away from them things. People say they don't care about them things, which is a different topic altogether. But I actually lean into it and I leverage it. I'm gonna be smart by leaning in and making a wise decision with my dietary choice, by using their momentum in my life, by saying I'm not gonna have junk food. I'm not gonna go up to the till of Aldi with crisps, croissants, the donuts. I'm not gonna do that. That's disrespectful to myself. I wouldn't want someone to even see me that. Same thing with scrolling in public. You won't catch me scrolling in public. Catch me in my bedroom doing it all night. I say all night as an over exaggeration. Right? Some nights, of course, it happens. It happens to every single person. Don't think, oh my goodness, you're probably doing it right now as we're listening to the podcast. Right? So there's always different variations of doing things. But I use that leverage. Okay. And I would recommend you use it too. Use the external pressure from the people, lean into it, and move with it. Next on the list here, we got agitation or slow movements. You got restless leg syndrome. That's the thing out there. I thought I had that when I was younger. It turned out I was just thinking of incredibly strange things. It wasn't my leg that had the problem. It was my mind that had the problem. And I would release my energy by using my leg. I would flow. I got to be constantly on the move because I got to keep my mind straight. I had to keep turning, tossing, turning in my bed. Agitation, moving the fingers, can't stand still. Palms are getting sweaty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Slow movements. I know when I was depressed, I felt like one of those koala bears. I felt like a koala bear. And when I was doing drugs at the end of my drug time, I was like a koala bear grabbing the smoke. And I say smoke being referencing to marijuana. Marijuana. I would lean over there and take that up. But it took me about 4 hours to reach across there. Maybe that was because I was stoned. Or maybe that was because I was feeling depressed and slow movements. But it's similar. You don't have any energy to move. Actually, you don't have any energy, which is a lie in itself, but you don't have enthusiasm to move, which is a slow movement and moving forward. Poor concentration, number 7, or indecisiveness. So everyday tasks are a trouble. They're pain. What are you gonna have for dinner is a big problem. Yeah, it's a challenge for you to recognize and just decide what you're gonna have for food. It's a challenge what you're gonna do with your day. And even when you do something, it's hard for you to stay concentrated on the thing you're gonna do. You get distracted, you scroll, you move on, you do your job half-assed, or you stop. These are all common signs. Number 8, feelings of guilt or worthlessness. And this means, very simple, that not only have you got guilt or worthlessness to your past, but also even to the things today. You didn't do the cleaning, you didn't cook the dinner. You feel more than usually guilty. And that's probably traced along the lines for your past. But now at least it's manifesting in a day-to-day experience of, oh, you had a takeaway instead of cooking dinner for yourself. Well, that's worthless because you can't cook. And the other one is you're feeling guilt, the guilt that you bought a takeaway instead of cooking dinner for yourself. I just love microwave meals. 4 minutes to cook, good nutritional value based off the nutritional content that it says. They have a green. I'll take that all day. Yeah, I won't have a hamburger, double cheese, or hot dog, red, green, red. I won't have that. Just go with the one that's all green. Give me 6 of those a day. Sorted, cheap, fast. I don't need to cook, although I do like a ham and cheese toast. Number 9, having thoughts or urges of unaliving oneself. A sad thing. That needs to be an episode in itself. Having thoughts of unaliving oneself or urges to do so, you must get help. And if it's not extreme, work on yourself, whatever that means to you. Yeah, reading a little blog about mental health, that helps. And you might think it doesn't help because you've just read the book, but that's what reading is really. You don't really see instant change. You don't see like, oh my God, now I'm refreshed. It's just a little read. You might get something useful. You might not get something useful, but it actually compounds. It still helps. Yeah? It doesn't seem like this grandiose thing that happens. Right, so that's if it's not so of a big urge. It might be a little lingering thought in the background of your mind. I think we all have the thought of like when we look over a balcony, jump, or what would it be like to jump? Well, and the depressed person just continues on that thought process. The depressed person just, oh, what would it actually be like to jump? Oh my God, oh my God, the world would be better without me. A normal person, or at least a person in a healthy mindset, might say, well, that's a ridiculous thought. Next. So if you do have extreme urges to do such a thing, please go seek professional help. I'm more than happy to help you in many ways if I can. If I can't help you, that's not a problem. And I recommend testing the waters with people that you want to get help with. BetterHelp is very good for that, in fact. BetterHelp has multiple therapists and you can change just like this. If you feel like it resonate with me, I'd love to help you in many ways. This is the DSM-5 criteria, you need to have 5 of these symptoms: diagnosis and statistical manual. So you need to have 5 of these things, 5 of these symptoms for you to be diagnosed with depression. 5 of these 9 symptoms. Do you resonate with 9? Do you resonate with 6? Do you resonate with 1 or 2? I'm very curious to know how you are on a day-to-day basis, because again, it's a 2-week process, and we all have some of these in some way, shape, or form. To the level of degree you have them, if they're impairing your life, that'd be something to look at and get help with. My name's Gary Clinton. I go by Gary Coach Clinton. I am a accredited therapist, which I'm proud to say recently. And I'm also a depression coach where I help men recover from depression. In this episode, we talked about the DSM-5 and how do you know if you're depressed. I look forward to seeing you in the tomorrow or the next episode. Again, check how to recover from depression. The course I've just created. It's one of the best courses I'm going to create. And I will revise it, update it, and change it. I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you for tuning into the Bulletproof Depression Support Podcast. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks.